The prioritization of high stakes testing shapes school climate. This is Jessica S. Lindsay, and this is for Education Curriculum and Instruction 5505. Throughout the learning process of this class, from the videos, readings, and my interaction to everyone, I came to see a pattern of topic commonalities across um, everyone's thinking about the prioritization of high stakes testing shapes school climate, how it affects um, specifically to teachers, to the creation of curriculum, and to the students. So, throughout my presentation, I will be citing evidences from the readings how school climate has changed after high stakes standardized testing evolved. But I'd like to start with how John Dewey view um, education. For him, he says a school is a primarily a social institution. Education being a social process, the school is simply that form of community life in which all those agencies are concentrated that will be most effective in bringing the child to share in the inheritance of the race, to use his own powers for social ends. Eliot, on the other hand, defined school as how it functioned to the society. He says that the function of schooling is not to enable students to do better in school. The function of schooling is to enable students to do better in life. US school started high stakes standardized testing in 19th century, if I'm not mistaken. The views of education has transitioned to school helping students to a school beginning to become like a business. From Philip W. Jackson, school is a place where tests and are failed and pass, where amazing things happen, where new insights are stumbled upon, and skills acquired. And from Jane Addams, the business of the school is to give to each child the beginnings of schools of a culture so wide and deep and universal that he can interpret his own parents and countrymen in which worldwide, not provincial. From Brian Scholch, he says school today seems to revolve around standards, accountability, and measurement, rather than focusing students' ability to learn through problem solving. Lastly, from Elliot Eisner, he says that the formulation of standards and the measurement of performance were intended to tidy up a business system and to make teachers and the school administrators truly accountable. Furthermore, he says schools are likened to businesses, and the survival of the fittest is the principle that determines which ones survive. If schools don't produce effective results on tests, they go out of business. Basically, they go out of fundings. So, what are the effects of high stakes standardized testing to school? And I quote directly um, an incomplete phrase from a whole um, long paragraph from Eisner's work stating that school have become places to mass produce or to mass productions. So for me, my reflection and my connection to what school should be and what how school is viewed now and how high stakes in their standardized testing has changed the 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 school from that system in place is that as the school prioritizes high stakes testing, students are like factory workers doing the same items simultaneously. The school climate we educators feel at our school is the system put in place for us to be accountable to our practices. Others may view it as a positive challenge, but I see it as devaluing teachers' ability and passion for what they love doing because it feels like we have to prove our worth through students' results. And that should not be like that, at least for my opinion. Would it be helpful if the system put in place strategic support to teachers, funding teachers' salary over spending machineries? Needless to say that it's hard sometimes to trust our students because unconsciously it is what we receive from the lawmakers. How does it affects the creation of curriculum when this high stakes standardized testing becomes the priority of the school? According to Franklin Babbitt, curriculum as applied to education is that it's a series of things which children, youth must do and experience by developing abilities to things of the things well that make up affairs of adult life and to be all respects what adults should be. From Brian Skolch, he says that curriculum is a collective work of the class. He explains to students, it should be with S, that curriculum is an act of trying to answer the what's worthwhile questions, like what is worth knowing, doing, being, thinking about. Furthermore, he says that the way we think about curriculum can be a form of resistance in times when curriculum is continuously being reduced, weakened, limited, or commodified. So here, what's the effect of high stakes standardized testing to the creation of to the creating of curriculum? Directly taken from Elliot Isner, he says that the curriculum gets narrowed as school district policies make it clear that what it is to be tested is what it is to be taught. Sadly, sad to say that I've seen teachers, a few teachers that have practiced this, that teach students how to take tests, how to come up with correct answers during testing. And it does not and it does not match of what should be the students at school doing. We know that students should be at school developing those skills, those social skills, as what John Dewey defined about how it is, how should be a school like, what healthy educational system for a student be like. To continue, I caught also directly from Isner saying that tests come to define our priorities. So when a school prioritizes um when the system put in place this enforcement, or how would I say it, if the system put this in place to everyone, to schools, then it becomes a priority for the school. And that's to narrow it down, it defines it 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 actually affects how we prioritizes the flow of our curriculum, the flow of the process of teaching and learning. And lastly, directly quoted from the work of Elliot Isner, says that one of the areas that marginalizes the arts, an area that when well taught offers substantial to students. So to me, when the school prioritizes high stakes standardized testing, the creation of curriculum prioritizes those those subjects, those core values, making those other subjects, other classes like art, um, getting the getting less priority to the school. And this is why I love how Gloria Ladson Billings mentions that is perfectly connected to what to what I just explained, how to what I just shared, and how what the evidences showcase how prioritizing standardized testing affects the creation of curriculum. I caught from her interview that she says learning is very constrained, and it is true. When we educators teach students how to take tests, of course it does make us plan a more constraints environment. In a way, we practice students how it is to act like, behave like, and think like um during testing. And so when we do this, according to her, it gives us the inability to see the sheer brilliance of this generation. He She says that this is the smartest, the most innovative, and the most creative group of learners. Next one. How does high stakes standardized testing affects teachers' disposition? According to Newell Nutting, um, and he took this quote from directly from McNeil 2000, um, that it demoralized teachers who claim that the quality of their teaching has fallen. Also, he says that school personnel cheat to make their school look better. I'm not very sure. I don't see this happening in my school, but this is s- something eye opening to me when I have read this one. And this is actually also in one of the curriculum readers. Um, from Elliot W. Isner, he says that teachers in high stake testing programs find ways to cut corners by unfairly helping students get higher scores on the test. Again, I haven't seen this personally, but something is something like this is really um I don't know. Maybe I would say the thing that pops up to my head is a very unacceptable. That we just think of making ourselves look better than anyone else by doing all of this unfair doings. So I don't see it very fair at all. Lastly, how does this high standardized testing affect students' disposition? And this is from Noel Nodding, from Care and Coercion, the School Reform, page 22055. He says that the effects of today's emphasis on a traditional academic curriculum for all children, coupled with high stakes standardized testing, are already depressing. Reports abound of second graders unable to sleep on the night before the big test and claiming sick stomachs on the day itself. This is a very obvious for us teachers to see anxiety of students feeling the 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 testing. Um, it's very prevalent. It's happening. NWA is um coming soon. Our school will, it's actually tomorrow for some of the schools. Um and I feel the air of our students not so motivated, not so ready, but regardless, they have to take the test. Um Also from, oh, this is from Elliot Isner. Students in the high stakes testing program find ways to cut corners. Okay, the same thing as also as teachers' disposition or um behaviors um when it comes to making themselves look better than the rest by cheating. Um, it also leads, according to Elliot Isner, leads to students want to know just what it is they need to do to earn a particular grade. Um, so with a high standardized testing, it gives him that thought of like, what do I just know? So not just not just teachers think about, okay, what do they need to know to take to have a correct answer during testing, but on actually at the same time, students develop that thinking that if this is what important to me, then this is what is my priority. At least I see it like that. What are my hopes? I hope for social justice in education, that policymakers revisit the implementation of high stakes testing across the school in the US. My hope is not to abolish it, but to make it strategic and purposeful so that we can allow students to cross the threshold of the school, providing environments that enable youngsters in our schools to find a place in the educational sun, that we diversify those opportunities by providing wider opportunities for youngsters. Also, creating an environment that teaches students independently without direct instruction by designing a curriculum according to students' needs. As Bill Ayers mentioned on his interview, he emphasizes that the environment is the third teacher. Lastly, to prioritize relationships and connections to students. As Rita Pearson talks about, every kid needs a champion, that no significant learning happen without a significant relationship. That's all. Thank you.